Hello and welcome to another episode of So Fly. It is July 1st, technically. We're actually recording this podcast in April. It's April 19th right now. One day before April 20th, 420. I probably had that part out. But my name is Mitch, and of course we've got Aldo.
Hi, guys.
And Gab.
Right on.
Right on. That's a weird intro.
I've been shooting surf, man. I'm hanging out with surfers.
Oh, you're a surf guy now.
I guess.
Because usually you say, hey.
Yeah. Now I want to say right on.
Right on works. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Episode 21. That's crazy. We just did episode 20, which is a bit of like a milestone. That's 20 hours of fly fishing content. I'm surprised we actually made it that far. That's pretty awesome.
Me too.
Thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening.
And thanks to all of our guests, past, present,
future. I mean, technically, it's weird because we haven't actually made it to episode 20 yet. Who knows what'll happen? Gab was saying his heart hurt earlier, so we're not really sure. But
he may be dead. He may be
That
dead.
could very well happen.
If so, this is an in memoriam episode for Gab. It's getting really real because, who knows, right?
Anyway,
we're talking about my death. Okay, subject. We haven't taken the float plane yet. It's at the end of the month.
Oh, that's true. Thanks so much for tuning in. We've got a really cool show lined up today. We have a guest on the show that we've been trying to get on for a while, and we've been wanting to get out fishing for so long. She's a fantastic angler from the Niagara region. Olivia, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Very good.
we're feeling good. We spent the whole day fishing with Olivia. Well, Mitch, you didn't, but Gab and I spent the day fishing with Olivia. It's still steelhead season now, but
Can't wait for it to be done.
Can't wait for it to be done. Like all of the warm water species by July, fish will be open. So let's just pretend we live in that world. Yeah, thanks for coming on the show, Olivia. And yeah, I mean, let's talk about your fly fishing life.
Hell yeah. Well, also too, I was working today. It's a Thursday, right? Yeah.
Yes, Thursday.
You guys were out fishing all day. How was that? Where'd you go? What was it like? It's cold still-ish. We've had this brutal rain and snow and wind and oh my God. Where'd you guys go? What was it like?
We went to Highland Creek, I think.
Highland Creek on the east end of Toronto and
Never been.
Scarborough.
You either, I think. Eh?
No, that was all of our first time fishing it. Rob from Drift Outfitters recommended it because we've had so much rain that it does blow really quickly, but it also clears really quickly. So we checked all the flow rates this morning of the rivers in the GTA, and that was the one that had the best flow rate. The credit was still blown, kind of muddy. The Humber will be blown for a while. So we thought we'd do some urban fishing at Highland Creek, and it was cool to explore some water that I've never seen before.
Didn't feel very urban though. We're
No.
Right
Deer.
in
You saw deer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was we're in Scarborough, but we're in a ravine.
Oh,
We saw a dead
Don't
raccoon
see any
too.
how-
dead raccoon.
That's how the day started, actually.
Yeah.
Dead raccoon.
Nature.
A horde of deer.
Horde?
Yeah, there was 5 of them.
I don't know if that's what you call a group of deer.
Definitely not.
No,
It works.
it works, right?
We know what
And and then a dead possum.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, that was today. We just got back from crushing a bunch of tacos and margaritas and beers, and we were walking down a sidewalk in Toronto and stumbled upon a dead possum, which is very sad.
It's a herd of deer. It's a herd.
To be honest though, I've always wanted to see one. I've never seen one.
Possum?
So they're fucking huge.
This one was
They're
big.
gross. But anyway, yeah, we discovered some pretty nice water. Today, we spotted some fish. We didn't get any fish today, but they were in there, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
Sorry?
No, I was going to say we saw fish in the 50 meter, just too north that you couldn't fish.
Oh, you spotted fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw fish in an area we couldn't fish.
So just north of the bridge of Kingston Road is where it's closed. It's a year-round fishery from south of Kingston Road, and of course, in the pool above Kingston Road, there were fish.
Oh my God.
They probably knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And but that's okay. So that's
the way
cool.
it goes, right?
Olivia, you just got back from a trip steelheading in
Pennsylvania.
How was that?
It was awesome. I don't even know how many fish we landed. I lost count at 12, to be quite honest with you.
Damn.
Yeah, it was good. I had a great guide, Scott Grassy, amazing guide. So if you ever want to go to Pennsylvania and fish steelhead, musky, go talk to that guy right there.
Musky's your thing.
Like fly fishing's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
You know, I've been doing it for like 2.5 years now, so it's still all new to me.
But you're jumping right in.
Yeah, Musky.
Because your Instagram handle is
Olivia M Fishing.
Check it out because it's like insane. Like we were looking at some of those photos and man, you're getting into a lot of fish.
Insane amount of fish.
I get lucky
Yeah.
often.
Well, I think you put in the work
Yeah.
too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You're pretty committed.
Luck comes with hard work.
Yeah.
Like in the summertime, I'm going out every day before work, after work, because you have that time span in the summertime, early in the morning until late at night. In the wintertime, I'm kind of a recluse.
Totally.
I don't get out that much.
Yep.
And you've been fly fishing for how long?
About 2.5 years now.
That's
2 years,
awesome.
2.5 years.
But you're a long time angler.
Oh yeah. Like bass tournaments, that kind of thing. I've done it all,
Did you ever
really.
do a bass tournament with a fly rod?
No, but I really wanted to. I think that would be super sick.
I think
be
you
awesome.
would get some looks.
Oh yeah,
I
I'd get some
think
Those
hate.
big boat bass guys,
a few years ago, the Fly Fish Journal covered 2 guys doing a Bass Masters with 2 fly rods.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But there was a rule, I believe, don't quote me on this, that I think like the rod length couldn't be more than 8 feet. But I think they've recently changed that for guys that fish like a lot of like weeds and stuff. They can use up to a 10-foot rod. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Don't quote me on this. Like I said, just so they can fish like weeds better.
Right. So they're thinking about all that stuff.
Yeah. So now, because I was like talking to a guy and they're like, yeah, you can go fish tournaments now because you have a 9-foot rod and it's super legal and legit. So it's been on my mind.
We should try it.
Well, like the thing I'm curious about too, like, cause like we haven't fished that much down. I haven't fished that much down in Niagara. I know Gab and Yilma got out last
We went
year.
once. And,
I don't know about Aldo. Like you're Niagara.
It's probably, I think all 3 of us can probably confidently say that is an area where we need to explore more.
yes,
we're
definitely.
light. We're light on Niagara, but we see your feed and it's like you're catching amazing fish.
Yeah.
So you're on Lake Erie and the Niagara River, yeah?
Yeah, so there's like 2 parts to the river. So there's the upper river, which Lake Erie feeds into. And then there's lower river where it feeds out to Lake Ontario. So I live closer to the upper river, like Fort Erie, that kind of area.
Okay.
But they're both really good fisheries and they're both 2 different types of fisheries, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
So like the upper is like a lot more shallower. There's more flats and stuff like that. And the lower, it's very deep. I think like the deepest part in the upper is like maybe 120 feet. The lower. The lower is like 120 feet. There's like a couple spots.
That's nuts.
I know, it's crazy.
Well, you see it like when you go like the whirlpool. That's
the lower.
That's the lower.
That's the lower, yeah.
That's massive. Like that's where Yilma and I went.
I think that's what most people are familiar. Like,
Devil's Hole
It's just-
is a
it's
big
just
thing.
Ginormous. You don't know like
and you have a boat, right?
Yeah, I have a boat. Yeah.
fish are like right by the bank,
Yeah.
and then you're casting 15 feet away, and you're like, there's no fish in there. They're like right by
15
your feet.
Yeah, you can see them. Like sometimes if you go down there and if it's like super gin clear, you can see them just hanging out right there. And you're casting out, like you said, like 15 feet out, but those things are like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you've been angling your whole life. Mm-hmm. What got you into fly fishing?
To be quite honest with you, at the job that I'm at right now, I couldn't do tournaments and stuff like that. So I kind of started to fly fish because of that. So I got out of tournaments. I was kind of super depressed about fishing, just having some kind of, I don't know, having hard times with like the pro staff thing, the people. And then I went to Cuba and I'm like, oh, fly fishing's easy. Like, whatever. I'm going to go catch like a bonefish and a permit and whatever else. And it was like the hardest thing of my life. And then I met a couple people down there that kind of motivated me to do it. And then ever since then, I've been like hooked.
Yeah.
But you caught a tarpon on that trip, though.
That was the second time I went to Cuba.
okay.
So this is the first time. Yeah.
Multiple trips.
Gotcha.
Multiple trips.
Because it's one of those, well, we were talking about earlier, saying salt. Like, it's just so easy
It's
to get
addicting.
addicted to.
Uh-huh.
And so, okay, so you got into fly fishing because it was sort of like you were a little bit like...
I needed something different. And like, I didn't want to give up fishing because I was about to sell my boat and, you know, start a whole new hobby just because I've had enough. Like, I'm sure you guys probably felt the same about something like that at one point in your life. And then as soon as I picked up the fly rod, I was like, my life like changed. I was like, I love the people involved in it. I'm meeting cooler people. I'm doing cooler things. There's more variety instead of just fishing for bass all the time. Yeah. I mean, people like that, like, you know, cool if you do, but it just wasn't my thing anymore.
Yeah. No, that's totally understandable. I mean, that's like it's a common thing with fly fishing anglers, you know, getting into it because it's like a new sort of like, it adds a new zest to the sport.
It makes you really appreciate like fishing and like where you are and like the environment and the water. Before I would never like look at anything. It'd be like my fish finder and like looking for those hooks on my, you know, at the bottom. And now I'm like looking at, you know, animals and the sun and the trees and hearing the water. And I'm like, this is beautiful. Like, why didn't I appreciate this before?
And like understand. Yeah. Like you start taking in like like the way a river flows when you start reading water, like, you know, not based off of a fish finder, but off of like whether it be in a river or whether it be in a lake, like you start looking for
finding
structure.
Stuff on foot.
And like these bass guys too, they're all about quantity. So like they just want to catch fish. They don't even care. Like they just want to catch fish. I'm more like, I was like that too, because I thought that's how I needed to be, like catch fish however I need to, you know, drop shotting, whatever, you know. And now it's like quality. If I catch one fish, I'd like the 8 hours I'm fishing, I'm so happy. Even if I see fish, that's it. Like I'm happy.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally. It's in the process too, you know? Because like steelhead's a great example of that.
I think musky fishing is a great example of that too.
Fishing is a great example of that.
Something that I don't have any experience in actually, but you do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I just did it out of like a whim too. Like, you know, it was just, I saw some guys musky fishing. I met a guy, I'm musky fishing, whatever. And I was like, I'm going to do that. If you can do that, I'm going to do that. And I'll do it with a fucking fly rod.
Totally.
You know, and I'll kick all your guys' asses. And it took me 20 days in a row, like day 1 to day 20 before I caught anything. And I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this anymore. Waste of time. Then I caught the fish and I was like, holy shit, my life has changed.
Yeah.
I cried like a freaking baby too.
I think after 20 days, I would probably cry too.
That's a crazy story. Was that your first muskie?
This is my first muskie on a fly. I've caught them trolling and whatever. I don't really count that one, but you know, that was like so like, I don't know, like intimate. I don't even know how to describe it.
How would you define the difference between getting it on like say trolling and then a fly rod? Like what made you cry when you got on a fly rod?
It was just so much hard work. Like I spent, you know, not knowing what I was doing. I don't have like a lot of people that fly fish and stuff. They have people to go with and to help them. I didn't have anything. I had YouTube. I had like a magazine articles and I'm like, I don't even know how to tie a leader, like a musky leader. I'm just making this shit up as I go.
Right.
This seems like a good idea. Just going. And I had no one to help me. So I had a friend come out with me who musky fishes with gear and kind of sort of mentored me to get my muskie, but still he can't really help me with that process. You know, it's still different. Even though we're fishing for the same species, it's different at the same time. And then it finally happened. One cast, couple strips, and like, it was like, I don't even know. It was the best thing ever. It was like a high, like I was like euphoric.
It was like a euphoric, cathartic release of 20 days of hard work, right?
I felt like my like heart was gonna come out of like my mouth. Like I couldn't even explain it.
Yeah. I remember that was the first time I like after like years of, maybe not years, maybe like a season of, definitely not years. But I remember like growing up. You know, Mitch and I grew up in Ottawa. Gab lived in Ottawa as well. We don't have steelhead rivers, Great Lakes steelhead rivers around there, and you always read about them. And then I came down here, and it was like one season of like zero fish, and I was like, I'm finally fishing for steelhead. I guess this is normal. And then the second season going through, and then actually starting to catch fish, I had the same kind of feeling. I was like, fuck, yes.
Oh, steelhead for sure is like that feeling. Like,
I know only because I haven't like significantly spent time fishing for muskie. I assume it's
similar.
Like,
similar.
Like for me, I'm over steelhead. Like I just do it because we've talked about this. Because it's just a thing to fill in the void. From summer kind of season to like spring.
Like romantically in the fall, I get really excited. You know, I think Mitch, you've mentioned in the past how much you get excited for fall steelhead.
Oh yeah.
But then after the fall and then January and then February and then March, you're like, you know what? The steelhead or bust thing is... want to catch something else, you know? Like,
And that's funny. And that's funny for you guys because my steelhead season starts in like February, March. Because I'm fishing for other species until like December. Like I grinded it out until like December 15th, I think was musky, like closure or whatever. Like the season was done. And I fished in like a snowstorm. My hands were bleeding because the ice built up on my line.
Oh, yeah.
And my friend's like, you know what? Let's like end it. I'm like, no,
Not
like
now.
you know, I felt like Braveheart or something. Like my hands are bleeding and, and I'm cold and my like snot freezing in my nose and I have icicles on my lashes. Like we're gonna catch this fucking thing, and we never did.
No wonder you cry after. Right? Like, it's like a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's like a dramatic like movie. Like you know, there's just so much, and then bang, it happens.
I mean, 100%. Like when you're on the river too, like it's a cinematic experience. You know, there's fogs rolling in. You're on a boat. You know, you're cold. You're like, oh, what is fucking fish, man? You know,
You're waking up and you're like, oh, I should have drank those 5 beers last night.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
I don't know. I'm drinking 5 more right now.
And I definitely feel like I've gotten a few like wrinkles because of musky fishing. Like it stressed me out.
That's
like
true.
for good, but like also whatever. And
wrinkliest one of us all. Yeah, over here.
I'm the older one here.
No, that's really cool. Like musky fishing is something that's like, yeah, like Aldo was saying, we have a connection to Ottawa, which is insane musky fishing.
yeah.
We just never really have like really taken the time to do it. But like it's July now, technically speaking, everybody's listening. It's like, what is that a good time to go out for musky?
I did it all summer. I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me with that. That's okay. Whatever. Disagree. I don't care. But like they say, like I think like 75 water temp is probably where I would like.
This is my coaster. Don't worry about it.
I would probably stop, but I mean, I'm really, really, really good with my fish. Like if I caught a fish, I didn't even take pictures with it because I saw it was not doing very good. So I was like, you know what? No pictures. I don't need the Instagram likes. I don't need that. Like I know I caught it.
Totally.
I don't give a shit about anybody else.
Oh, for sure.
I'm not pro staff. Like I don't need to impress anyone. Like let it go. I'd rather see that fish alive and healthy
Totally.
than holding it and looking like a piece of shit dying fish for
Yeah,
that like
totally.
Instagram like. It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to me.
That's a big part. Like we're gonna get to talking about that a bit more later, I think, too, with Gab's news section. But it's a big part of just like what we all do, you know, like we like sharing photos and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, like it all, like we skipped up tons of trout fishing opportunities in the summer because it's too hot out. We just don't want to be
like 30
guilty.
degrees, and then we're
And there's
Southern
people that do
Ontario.
it.
There's people that do it.
Just they don't even care. I feel like people don't even care about the fish. They just care about, oh, I want a free sticker or a free hat because I caught that
Yeah, it's
that
kinda
fish
rough.
in 90-degree weathers and it probably died, but I don't care. You know.
You know what? My dad used to do that in the summer, and I thought it was cool. If you want to fish for trout in mid-July when it's super hot, just use your fly, but cut the hooks.
Yeah, that's a good
And
idea.
then you get hits. Like you see it, like fish, like just go for it, and then they bite it, and then you go to set the hook, and it just like there's no hook on it, so it's kind of
Right,
cool.
right,
You
right.
see
Kinda
it.
neat.
Well, I think
But,
you know, sorry.
Yeah, well, if you don't need that photo, you know,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're not a brand ambassador, you don't need that 20
Yeah.
inches brook trout photo
Well,
yeah.
or trout photo.
I think even if you are,
You know,
you
you
should do
just-
it.
Even if you
ethically,
are,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
especially if
sure.
you are, you know.
Yeah, especially if you are. If
That's
you
a
have to
good-
show
very
an
good
example,
point.
but we'll get it on this.
Well, with your
Yeah.
news,
Yeah. I think it's a good point, and like I think to your point as well, like you know, living in the region that you live in, the region that we live, we do have options, and like
this coaster is like so lit. Like,
Yeah.
keep sticking
lit
lit.
sticking everywhere. I think we do. You know, I always talk about this. Like you know, we do have. Actually, I think you said it best, Olivia, during when we were having dinner. Like, what is it? We're more well-rounded anglers, maybe in Southern Ontario, because we get to fish for so many types of things. Like, we're like, oh my god, I can't believe I haven't been out for muskie. But some people are like, wow, like that's something you can like lament. Like, I don't even have that option.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like
We were
we're
talking about
like
that,
we're like,
yeah.
oh, I've lived in 2 places now with muskie, and we haven't been out. But like, how lucky are we that we
Yeah,
have, we
for
have that
sure.
opportunity? Right?
Yeah. It's too hot for trout. You go for bass.
Yeah.
Bass doesn't work.
Well, that's even because
you go to the lake and you go for.
Well, we've
pike,
been lucky being in Quebec and Ontario. You've lived out in a couple different places, right? Like,
And unfortunately, I didn't fish in any of those places.
None of
I
them.
don't know I don't know what I was thinking, but I was going to school, so it was kind of hard and
Right,
everything.
yeah.
But the places where I did live, like the fishing was ridiculous. And now that I look back at that, I was like, what was I doing?
What places in
So
specifically?
I was living on Long Island, so that's known for like striper fishing
Of
and
course.
all that kind of stuff. And I didn't even know that like existed. But at the same time, I wasn't really into fishing at that time. I was into rowing and my schooling and stuff, and then went to West Virginia where they have musky there and trout and everything, and it was right there, like literally right there. And I just whatever, it was just not that time in my life that I thought about it.
yeah, it's fair. Since then, have you taken any trips?
I've been to Cuba, went to Virginia this year,
Went to Cuba a couple times, right?
a couple times.
Back to Virginia.
Back to Virginia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, man. And you fished down in Virginia.
I did fish for musky, so that was like February-ish, and surprisingly it was very cold, snowing and stuff like that, froze my ass off down there, but it was worth it. Caught a fish,
Nice.
Sweet.
so it was awesome, totally worth it.
And do you have any trips coming up?
Yeah, I'm going to Lac Seul, Anderson's Lodge at the end of August, so I guess it's not really coming up, but
It's coming up.
yeah, it's coming up. And I'm going to Pennsylvania at the end of the month to fish with Scott Grassi again for
Sick.
musky.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so
Is that your favorite thing to fish for, you think?
I don't know. Like, I think I'm very like that type of person where I'm obsessed with something. I'll do it until I'm literally sick of it, and then
Yeah.
I'll move on to the next
I
thing.
never want to see a muskie again. Yeah.
But it's different because like they don't fight at all. So when you catch one, it's the most disappointing thing in the entire world. And then but it's
They don't fight, eh?
they don't. No,
that's what
not really.
you know what that's what Chris at Drift Outfitters and Bill
Bill.
Bill, one of our former guests, like those guys muskie angle a lot, and Bill always said the same thing, like, well, although they never really fight that much anyway, and like and I'm always like, because again I
Just naive to it.
I'm naive to it, right? So, or ignorant or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm like, how can that possibly be true? But I guess it is.
Yeah, I don't. It's weird.
Because you see the size of them and you're like, fuck.
You could
Sharks, man. They're freshwater sharks.
exactly freshwater barracuda, really.
Yeah.
You could feel the head shake. I had one I was fishing with my dad. This was probably, even though my first muskie ever was probably my favorite, like kind of thing, but fishing with my dad, because he's never really seen me. He's seen me fly fish and stuff like that, but it was like his first time me succeeding and
Gotcha.
working really hard and getting what I wanted to get. So it was kind of the end of the day, and he's like, couple more casts, just do it, just go. And I'm like, oh, I just want to go in. I'm done with today, whatever. And made a cast, caught this muskie, and it literally jumped like vertical out of the air, like a tarpon.
Crazy.
It was crazy. And my dad's like, oh my God, like freaking out. And I'm like, get the fucking net. What are you doing? Like, and he was
Get the net, get the camera, call mom. Like,
oh, it was like crazy. And so we got the net, got some pictures. It was tagged too, which was super cool.
oh, that's cool.
That
That's
was
really cool.
Really, my one in Virginia was tagged too, which is
No way.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I know. It was really, really cool. So it was really nice to have my dad out there, since we don't get to spend a lot of time on the water together. So it was just a great experience for him to see that. He was so like emotional about it, because he was just so proud that I worked so hard and finally accomplished something like with him, even though he thought he pretty much set me all up to catch that muskie, which I'll let him think that, sorry Dad, if you're going to listen to this, but he was a great supportive and person, and he netted my fish too, and he was just so happy. Like, I think he was more happy than I was.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome to see like that kind of experience. Feels like a very musky fishing thing, right? Because they're few and far between, right?
Yeah, I mean, we fish a lot in the Niagara, and guys will fish and they'll say, "Oh, we had like 4 fish and stuff," and I'm like, "Oh, like were you fly fishing, casting?" "Oh, we were trolling," and I'm like, "Yeah,
That's cool.
that's good for you."
Good for you.
Oh, that's the whole fly fishing thing, right? Like we do it because it's a bit more of it's a different way at it. Like I know steelhead, like we're
Are we
swinging.
masochists?
I mean, maybe
I've been called a snob.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. which is fine.
Yeah, that's
Whatever.
cool. And here we are drinking our Muskoka legendary oddity gin.
I'm kind of a snub, so I take it.
Nice dim light and surrounded by books and
What is that, an Edison bulb?
yeah, totally. Check out the pictures on social. You'll get what that reference was about. No, that's crazy. So you would say like Musky is definitely up there for you then in terms of like your favorite experiences on the water.
For right now, but no,
Right.
I did catch a tarpon in Cuba.
Hell yeah.
And
that was your
that-
second trip down?
That was my second trip down, and that was so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Like, it was amazing. It was the best thing of my entire life. All I wanted to do was like just quit my job,
And fish for tarpon.
fish for tarpon, and I was going to do it. But then I realized, I need to have money to do that.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was like 3 years ago, I was in the 4 years ago, I was in the Keys, and I didn't get a chance to fish for tarpon. It wasn't exactly the right time of year or whatever, but we had an awesome trip anyway. Barracuda, everything else, bonefish in Isla Morada. But on the last day, I was like just on it's a friend's house, and I was like on the dock and just saw one roll, and I was like, ooh. Also, the thing is, because obviously you see pictures, watch videos and stuff, and you're like, well, that's crazy. And then you're like, but then you actually
See it.
which is, I'm assuming, like, I mean, the Niagara is a very clear river. I'm assuming watching, you see the muskie follow, right?
Pretty much like as soon as you cast, you'll see them follow.
I
It's
feel
so
like-
freaking clear.
I feel like that's probably a pretty intense experience, like watching a muskie follow, right?
It was at first, and it gets freaking old because like
Well, never mind.
like like at first it was, and then you're like, yeah, you're just gonna tease me and like whatever, like you're just gonna
Okay,
come
so
to the
you're
boat,
like,
like
okay,
yeah, whatever. We played this game before, like
You start naming them.
yeah, there's Gabby and there's Henrietta and Bob,
He doesn't like his name, Gabby. It's kind of
Gabriella.
Gabriella.
that muskie wants to be called Gab.
Seeing a muskie follow fly though, is it a little bit of a heart stop? I mean, like,
The first time it happened to me, I was like fishing alone because I fish alone quite a bit. Just because it's hard to find people where I live to like go. But I was like stripping it in, and I saw this thing, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, stay calm, stay calm. And I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do if I actually hook into this thing? I have this net that is so freaking heavy that I can't even hold by myself. And I have a 9-foot rod, and I have this freaking 40-inch fish. Like, what the hell am I gonna do? Right? And then I didn't catch it anyways, which is kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
But it did follow for half a figure eight. Oh my god! So I'm kind of proud of myself.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, so it was pretty sweet.
terrifying but awesome.
Terrifying, awesome. It was just like every single feeling, like anxiety, horror, happiness, all in like
Pure
one, all into one.
You've talked about trout not being like really a favorite species of yours.
Because I think I'm horrible at it. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, but you've also, like you were saying, you've got so many different species to go after.
Yeah, like I do. I like to go to Montana and stuff, and that's kind of like my trout fix because I do enjoy the dry fly thing. It's fun. It's different.
Do you go to Montana often?
I've been there twice.
Okay.
And I try to like go. I want to go every summer, but just having a job kind of sucks. Ruins everything.
And
know, jobs.
When we first met up today, you mentioned you lived in Alberta for a bit as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any fishing there or no?
No,
Okay.
no,
No
Really?
fishing up there?
no.
Oh, because when you were there, it was
I
like,
was like work and young and didn't really.
Totally.
Right. But your work was pretty cool out there, though.
It was really cool.
what were you doing?
I did like guided trips for like horseback riding.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you ride horses too.
I do ride horses.
Do you have a horse?
I do. I actually have 3.
Shit.
I do, but you can't.
Never. I have never ridden a horse.
Why can't you ride them all?
Because one's a little pony and she's old and she's like a little old lady.
Do you have one that
and-
doesn't behave?
I do. His name's Sam, and
Can I
he's
try
kind of
to
like
ride it?
you. He's actually like you.
I wanna try to ride it.
For everybody listening, Gab and Olivia really bonded today on the river by insulting each other every 8 seconds.
I'm kind of a troll, so
He is a troll.
And I didn't bring my rod today. I was just shooting photos, and they were not catching, so I kind of got vocal.
Lots of pictures of knots and flies and trees,
Yeah.
right, Gab?
Yeah.
Right?
That's cool, though. I mean, yeah.
The second
Yeah.
cast? What was that? I heard
Yeah,
earlier?
so at the end, I'm like, Olivia, give me your rod. I want to do some casts. Second cast, I got stuck in a tree and lost all the rigs.
Crazy.
And I had to climb up to go grab her flies.
Oh, you got the flies back?
Yeah, I got the fly
yeah,
back.
Okay,
I
okay.
made
But
them.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. You didn't
sweet.
make me. You were like, oh, that's okay. I'm like, no, I insist.
And I
Second
just-
cast.
And I took pictures of the whole thing too.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Okay, good. Well, as long as
there's
there's pictures.
So it's documented.
Yeah.
Me
I had
in the
to.
tree.
That's cool. You've lived that's awesome. You've lived a pretty eclectic life.
Yeah.
Yeah, to this point.
When it comes to like other fish down in the Niagara area, like what would you say besides muskie? Like what is a favorite?
Probably carp.
No way.
Yeah.
Yes. Finally.
They're
Gab is like a huge carp. He loves carp fishing. Carp fishing is something that like I've always been like kind of like meh. Like I don't know why.
Why do
They
you
call
like?
them the
Why do you
golden
love
bones.
to fly fish for carp so much? What's so great about
golden bones.
so they're like the freshwater bonefish. They fight like amazing. They'll get right into your backing right away.
They're definitely they're super powerful.
They're just
Yeah.
powerful.
They're big.
They're big. Even
big,
the
they're
small
heavy?
ones fight well too.
it? Yeah, I mean they're so heavy.
And they're fun
if
to
it
catch.
decides to go to the right,
I mean, yeah, there's
Fucking go to the right.
I mean, I know it's like turned into like it'd be kind of trendy or I mean, it's trendy. The right
Yeah,
word?
there's a trend.
Yeah, there's definitely a trend to like. I mean, that Carpland video came out a couple of years ago, and I remember, and like, and now we just saw we have selections of carp flies adrift. Like, it's not so much this like radical thing anymore. They are amazing.
you don't hear as much as like 2 years ago. You're right.
Definitely, the trend has come and gone, but now I think there's that lasting power of people being like, "Oh yeah, this is just another thing you can fish," and here are all the ways you can do
Yeah.
it, as opposed to being like, "How do I fish for this?"
But it's cool because like they have their head down, they're like hoovering kind of, and then it gives.
He's like, there's a hoovering, and me and Aldo and Olivia just kind of look at each other like the vacuum.
They suck it, right?
There's
Like,
a-
whoop.
Oh yeah, that's true. I thought you meant
yeah.
hovering.
But
and I was
then-
Yeah, there's a language
Hoovering.
disconnect there, but it
Hoover.
worked.
like, it worked.
hoovering.
Because they feed from the bottom and then they kind of filter the water too.
And I
like
think that
mid-
what's attractive about them, it's like a little bit like fly fishing for saltwater in terms of like you're really targeting a fish that you can see,
you can sight fish them,
and
which is
that's
cool.
feeding,
Yeah.
and you gotta put it right in front.
So do
of
you
their
sight
face.
fish for them?
I do. I
Oh,
usually
fuck,
there's
that's
like
cool.
That's the only way.
There's a short time where I do it. Where they're really they're spawning. Okay, I'm sorry, all you animal lovers out there, but they're open all year. Okay, so
Scarp.
they're
I guess that's
Rules
all
are rules.
yeah. So
Rules is rules. Just coming in here. Rules is the rules.
it's not like I'm picking them off beds like some people do with bass. But anyways,
Yeah.
So they're swimming around, they're feeding, and you're standing there, and they're swimming. They'll spook sometimes. You gotta wait for them to come back, and then you just cast. Like I usually just use a woolly bugger because it's just easy or whatever.
Yeah.
And some of them like filter in the top of the water and some at the bottom, but they will like look at your fly and then literally just go right around it, and you
Amazing.
like
'Cause
just
if-
fucker eat it.
Yeah.
When they're spawning,
Eat
they're
the
kind
damn
of
thing.
protective of their nest, and then if you have like
You
a
can fish a
pattern
streamer,
that kind of looks
yeah.
like a crayfish, which go at the bottom
Yeah.
and eat the eggs, they go and they just crush it, and they crush it hard.
It's kind of
like,
crazy though, because like I've noticed that too. They're so selective. Because I was on the
They
Clyde, no, not the Clyde, the river down in Simcoe. God, what's it called? I can't. Drawing a blank. People will know. They'll be like, it's this river. It flows into Erie, and it runs right through Simcoe and into Port Dover. And it's anyway.
The Grand.
No, not the Grand. I know it's not the Grand. It starts with the C.
That creek
It's
called
either
the
the
Grand?
Clive or the Clyde or something like that. I can't
Okay.
like honestly. It's one of those stupid moments, but. I was fishing there when I was a kid, and I was like trying to catch a brown trout, and there was like 3 massive carp, and I was like so angry and frustrated, but I couldn't even catch those because they were so selective. Like they were looking at my fly and just straight up like turning their nose up. Like no. And I was like, that's crazy. They're that selective.
They are. It's crazy.
They
They're
also have a
annoying.
really good sense of smell because that's how they catch fish, because
'Cause people use-
catch food because they don't have really a good eyesight.
Because people use like boilies for them and like.
But
cat
if
food
you
and
use
corn.
any kind of scented like head cement, like I use a lot of nail polish, and that thing stinks like nail polish. If you do that, if you use nail polish like for carp, she's gonna go for it and then smell it and just turn around.
Yeah.
Like it just
What's it like fishing
Smells
carp
like
down
gas.
in your neck of the woods? Like,
It's awesome. It's cool. They're everywhere. Like when they're in, they're in.
Where do you fish them? Like flats or like?
Yeah, it's kind of like a flat. You have to be careful because bass is not in season, and usually the bass are kind of hanging around too. So you gotta you gotta watch, because God forbid, whatever. But they're everywhere. Like they come in the shallows, and you gotta be careful too because a lot in spots in Lake Erie, they're like special protected areas too. So you gotta be careful. And I've seen people carp fishing in these areas, and it's not in my like job description to go tell these people, but I usually do and call the M&R. I'm that person.
Yeah.
They are on speed dial on my phone for all
Totally.
you poachers out there.
It's good. That's good.
I think that's good advice for conservation-minded people.
It's good to be think about conservation in that sense though. Like protect your waters, and
Yeah.
there's no harm in like narking when it comes to poaching.
Like I had a kid, this freaking little kid. Well, he wasn't a kid. He was probably like 12, but whatever. Kid.
Yeah.
Musky fishing. It was opener and there's bass all around. So and this kid and his freaking waders is fishing, picking these fish off beds, and I'm like, you little asshole! Like I'm calling the M&R on you, and I did, and then he proceeds to call the M&R on me, saying I'm fishing for bass out of season with a huge freaking musky fly and metal leader, and I'm like, really? We're gonna play this game now?
Well, like the M&R agent shows up, you're like, I'm casting flies the size of a bass.
And they and they did, and he like was watching me and my friend. He's like, I saw you guys. You're fishing musky, obviously. And this kid got in trouble for fishing bass out of season. And I'm like, thank goodness, because there's so many times where you see people poaching and nothing is done.
Yeah, totally.
And then you're the bad person for telling them that they're doing something wrong.
Yeah. I know.
I think like, we need to realize too is like the more concentration of reporting that there is, then the M&R does dispatch their conservation officers to that area, and like if you are, it's not futile to report, even if nobody shows up, because it means that
I do all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I think it's a good thing to report because it's not like you're putting up a bat signal and he's going to be there in 18 milliseconds, like on the bat wing, confiscating rods, But what it does is like it makes sure that it's in a database, and if they see a high concentration of reports in this area, you're like, wow, like this is obviously an issue and we have to go address that issue, because those M&R agents, they're in the Men in Black. But those officers are really stretched thin. There's like 500 for a province that can fit Italy in it 5.5 times. Like the area they have to cover is crazy.
I'll often just call them when I'm lonely and come on out. They catch me. I'm eating a sandwich.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, what are you doing?
You guys probably have like a huge issue because you guys have a trout season and stuff here. So I'm sure there's tons of people fishing trout out of season in the areas.
Even in season, we have a lot of poaching happening and a lot of like fish milking and really deplorable habits.
And like, there's a lot of sanctuaries too here.
It's greasy, man.
We have
and then
like
you see people in sanctuaries fishing like all the time.
that drives me
Sometimes they
crazy.
don't know that
This
it's a
really irks
sanctuary,
me,
but
Shane. Like,
if
I
you're
get
out there
really,
fishing,
emotional about this because we have lake trout and they're open a certain time during the season and they're closed. And of course, you're going to go out and fish for steelhead and browns, and you're going to catch lake trout when they're closed. And people take pictures with them and say, "Oh, oops, whatever, accidental catch." Yeah. I'm like, "Hey, they're out of season. Even though you said you're not targeting them, you're still taking a picture with them, and that's against the freaking rules." Yeah. And like, I've lost friendships because of it, because I don't respect that at all. And I mean, when I first started doing fishing and stuff before I was educated and I was ignorant, I took a picture out of season lake trout too. But I had someone tell me, "Hey, by the way, that's out of season," and I kind of respected that and got rid of that. But that's like a huge thing down my way. And even in the States too, they're closed at a certain time. Right. And like, there'll be guides going fishing for lake trout, even though they're saying we're going fishing for steelhead, but like, because they're a big fish or whatever, and they're targeting lake trout, and it absolutely drives me crazy. And they consider themselves like ambassadors of brands. And there's some fly fishing people too that catch lake trout out of season. I see the pictures on like different pages and stuff, and I'm like, you are like advertising poaching and fishing out of season.
It's insane.
Thanks, man.
You know?
Yeah, it's sad to see that. Yeah, like you said, so-called ambassadors of it,
Yeah.
mistreating it and being irresponsible. It's rough. Don't do it.
I know.
Right?
Not
Because
for
you're
that
gonna-
Instagram, like.
You're gonna post it online, and sure, you're gonna get likes, but then you're gonna get people that see through that shit.
Well, also,
and
who
you're
gives,
gonna get
who
called
gives a
out.
shit about that stuff anyway, right? Like, it's a byproduct of what we do, right? Like, we go out, we
Yeah.
fish, we have fun for ourselves, and it's like, well, we may as well just share the experience and get more people into it and all that stuff. But it's like, yeah, like you said, you're not gonna like kill a fish for a like.
And and we've seen it. Like
Yeah.
I've seen musky where I'm like, oh my god, like that thing's dead. Or like a trout, like someone's holding a trout. It's like head is super far back. Their fingers are like in the gills, and they're like
know.
catch and release.
cringeworthy,
Hashtag catch and release.
Dead release.
You know, and I'm like, is that going right to the grill or like, I hope it is because
It's not gonna swim
Yeah,
away.
I think.
Yeah.
I think like being people who are so active on social media, like our me myself personally, our group, So Fly, you yourself, Olivia. I think like I don't think there's anything wrong with being active on social media and taking those pics or whatever. But if you can, but doing it in a responsible way, where like, yeah, you're right. Like I would, like you said, like I don't need. You go fishing for 20 days and you don't catch a muskie, you finally catch a muskie. But if it's not great shape, like you said, it's not worth it.
No,
Like,
it's not.
It's just not worth it for a like,
Totally.
Yeah.
And I'll, as the person that take photo of you guys fishing.
Basically, everybody should hire a photographer so
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's it. Hire me or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
whoever. No, but just saying like fly fishing.
Just like so transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah, like hire me or whoever, but like me.
But
Blake should hire me though.
what I'm trying to say,
Cool.
Is
I'm glad
that-
that everybody heard that.
fly fishing is so much more than just catching fish. Like if you're an ambassador, if you want people to know what you're doing on the river, bring a camera and just take a shit ton of photos of what you're doing. No, like everyone can hold a fish and smile at a camera.
Yeah.
But like,
And I think
like today, you guys are rigging up. Like I'm lying on the ground taking photos of you guys putting your your lines through the eyes of the
Yeah.
rods and
I
stuff like
think
that.
also to your point, Olivia, like I
Mhm.
think there's a level of ignorance there. Like I in the past have taken I think it's really good. Like what people like the keep them wet kind of movement is like doing that. I've taken pictures of fish on grass, thinking that like, oh, I'm catching release.
I
like,
used to do
like,
that.
like, I
that
think
irks
fish
my
that-
chain,
but like,
too.
but like
Yeah.
I used to do that, and then Rob was like, that is like you should not be doing that, man. Like they're literally suffocating, and I'm like, of course they are. Like how like that was so dumb.
Yeah, they're like so dry.
Like that's so dumb.
Take a
Like
bunch
it's
of
Yeah.
like
photos, compare it to the size of your rod.
yeah. I mean,
We
I
all
used to
done
do all
that.
that shit, and and it's not good for them. And if you really do care about them, like and I was definitely guilty of that. But like you can change,
Imagine if a fish catch you and then hold you underwater and like laying
and then
flat on the
then
ground.
punch you on the face at the same time.
Yeah, punch you in the face, take some
Yeah.
photos. That would hurt.
I don't know where I heard this from, but I heard someone say it's like, let's say you're running a marathon, like full tilt sprinting, and then you're out of breath and you fought for your life, and then you're stuck underwater for a minute.
Right.
That's
Well,
like
yeah,
the
'cause-
equivalent to that. And I really, really thought about that. So like
You used to be a runner.
I don't really anymore, but back in the day. So I know like how it feels, but like when I try to take a picture of a fish, like even for muskie, I have them in the net, they're in the water,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, we're doing this in like 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't get it in 10 seconds, then the fish is
shit,
back.
yeah.
Like, it is what it is. And usually I have everything pretty set up so it's like flawless. Like I have a thing going, it's like an assembly line, up, take pictures, okay, goodbye.
Yeah.
I just want to let everybody know that I'm back from the washroom.
Welcome back. Welcome
Thanks,
back.
Gab.
It's nice up there, man.
It is really nice.
Yeah.
Although we're recording at Aldo's pad, we didn't mention that. It's a really nice place.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah. Thanks. It's in no way, shape, or form Paul, my roommate's house. He didn't buy it. I bought it. It's not his. These aren't his plants, and none of this is his. It's all mine, actually. Yeah.
That's really nice. Paul's a lucky guy to be able to enjoy this place with you.
Yeah. Thank God Aldo came in.
Is it time for Gab's new news segment?
I feel like what we just talked about is probably a good segue into news
it's gonna fit right in.
Yeah.
Let me get the new.
Let me get the new music.
Let's
here.
point some fingers and name some
Drop some names.
Gab, I'll point at you like this when I'm ready for you to introduce.
Okay, can I have?
Welcome to. Oh, your news.
Yeah.
Wait, can you pull it up on this?
So I got some notes.
Can you pull one of the two things that you need up on this?
Yeah,
I guess why don't we put it?
Let me send the news to you.
Okay, cool.
I'll send you.
Okay, we gotta do that again.
Because you know what? I was waiting to.
He's like putting his ear up to the microphone and then talking to it. This doesn't expel any audio. It takes it in.
I know, because I could hear a little bit.
Okay,
Like,
take
what the
two.
hell?
Take two.
Okay.
Welcome to Fly Fishing News with Gab.
Give it a sec. Gab?
Okay. Hi. This is Fly Fishing News with Gab. Okay. So whatever. We're gonna. I always need a momentum, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not an anglophone. Okay, give me a break. So today, for the news.
I like how he's kind of silently criticizing himself.
Throughout the whole thing.
And we're all just sort of laughing at him.
Just staring at him.
Keep going.
All right.
Gab.
Last
Fly
week-
fishing news with Gab is great. You're off to a great start.
Okay. Last week, I stumbled upon an article written by a Wyoming guide and writer, Ryan Hudson. And it fits with what we were talking about, the brand ambassador. And the article mentioned, like, is the brand ambassadors nowadays with the craze for social media is hurting the fisheries? Because they talk about people just like getting like likes for the sake of Instagram and social media fame, fishing trout on spawning beds.
Get out of here.
Yes. So this guy, Patrick Duke, which is he's a guide, not just a brand ambassador, but a guide out of Colorado, went to Wyoming with a bunch of people, including a photographer, which I really fancy, Matt Shaw. Sadly, should have known better.
What's his name?
Matt Shaw Creative on Instagram. That's the photographer with Patrick Duke. They fished an area where brown trout were spawning, giant brown trout, and then someone saw through that, and they made it all the way to the front cover of the American Angler magazine. But when you look at the photo, do you have it?
No.
You should check it out.
I'm looking for it.
Pretty important stuff up right now. Look.
Oh my god.
I wanted to get in all those photos, just a cat in a hat. Like, sorry, yeah.
So Ryan Hudson did some digging, did some research, and those guys were in an area out of season, no fishing license, taking photos of giant male trout, brown trout. And when you look at the photo, like, maybe you don't see it right away, but their tails are like gone. Like they're like, you can tell they were on spawning beds doing their business.
It's crazy.
And
when did this come out?
So it came out last week. I saw it and I was like, oh, so awesome news section.
Mid-April?
This would be mid-April then, yeah?
Mid-April. It was like how many times a month, how many times a year American Angler comes out? Maybe
It's 4, right?
Maybe 4, probably 4.
Quarterly?
So it came out, and then front cover, awesome photo in theory, but the fish was totally spawning. The bottom of the fish is all munched up. Is that the right word? Munched up?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we can use that.
Yeah. Okay.
Just checking in, munched up. Checks out.
So here's the news sections this week was gonna be this month, it's going to be a discussion about like what's the role of a brand ambassador.
Right.
We don't necessarily, well, we're with Drift now, but we put ourselves online.
I just want to confirm American Angler is 6 annual issues.
Okay.
So
Good.
even more than a quarter.
So yeah,
Well, I think
at what price do we do what we do, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's a good. I mean, we touched on it a bit before this, but it's true. It's like ambassador is one thing, right? To be an ambassador of the sport, but to fish and want to just fish and catch fish to take pictures, to then like build your own like fishing cred, which seems kind of weird, but yeah, what like
us, So Flying, you know, we do this. We post ourselves online. Olivia posts herself
I don't.
online. There's where is the limit? That's it. You know, because
I don't know if there is a limit. I think like maybe it's more about doing it responsibly, right?
yeah,
Being aware.
because you might
Yeah.
not be doing like illegal stuff, but it might just not be nice. Milking fish is not necessarily illegal,
being aware.
but is it a good thing? You know,
Olivia
like-
just mentioned being aware.
like educate yourself, like look at the regulations,
Right.
look at the time of year, you know, and I'm sure everyone has been guilty of doing something like that in the past because you're not educated, you're not aware, and that's fine, and that's how you grow and that's how you learn, right? But these people that are doing this, they know, like it's not, they know what's going on and they're doing it for that, like that, you know, 10,000 likes on Instagram, that, you know, oh, I'm going to get a free sticker or I'm going to be on a magazine cover. And, you know, like, so people that are not aware and not educated are like, oh, that's a sick trout, like sweet fish. And then people that kind of notice these kind of things, they're like, man, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but when you think like American Angler, they have an editor, and then that person makes the call where the photo
It's all
goes.
about the money. It's business,
know.
right?
But
Yeah.
like they say, oh, sorry, I didn't notice that tail was almost gone from digging in the sand. But you're like, your job is to fucking put photo in a magazine. Like you didn't notice like the tail was damaged. Like,
Well, I think it's
Like-
probably, you know, it's something I would say relatively new in not just fly fishing
Yep.
media, but fishing media is being conservation minded,
mm-hmm.
right? So I don't know if
No,
I
it's
mean
true.
it should be front of mind. It should absolutely be front of mind.
But
But
how do we implement that? You know, like by calling out people.
I think you're always gonna have
Like-
people that, you know, like it's
Yeah.
happened all the time. Like even back in like the 80s when there was fishing shows, you know, like there was guys who were like, you know, they were doing things. Even tournaments, you see it all the time. People cheating.
Yeah, well, I think like I mean, I think people really quickly try to like blame social media. They're like, oh God, it's ever since people started taking pictures. No, like people have been
taking
people
pictures
have
for
been-
a long time.
People have been taking pictures and people have been poaching for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just that
Someone
I think
blame.
to your point, Olivia, where it's like when you're making a profit off of it is when you need to be responsible. And you need to be, if you're going to be in the industry and if you're going to be a leader in the industry, then you have to act like a leader in the industry. And even if you're not going to be a leader, like, I mean, we're as pretty small potatoes when you compare to somebody else, but people do listen to us, you know, and we're mindful of that. And I think anybody should be mindful of that.
Yeah.
It's about money. Like I said before, you know, some of these people, maybe they're not super, like they're passionate about fishing, but they want to make money doing it. So they'll do whatever it takes. You know, same thing with guides too, because I'm sure guides have like fished certain areas that they're not supposed to make that money. Or I'm not going to mention any names, but high profile fishing people, like people from Canada fishing, you know, like poaching fish for a TV show, getting caught, getting in trouble. Maybe you know who I'm talking about, but still, you know, like someone that I've like looked up to, like, you know, watching their show, then seeing that happen. I'm like, shouldn't they have known that just to make a freaking TV show?
But you know, there's a thing, like people say it's because of social media that this happened. And I say, no, it's because of social media that now we see it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I think,
more
I think maybe
common.
you know, of course, it may have exacerbated the problem because, you know, people are seeing returns on, you know, their followers and whatnot. I mean, like, you know, I don't know.
But I mean,
I mean, to somebody, like a free hat is pretty cool, you know, and like if it means getting a certain amount of followers, then, you know, it all has to do with ad budgets and people get stuff. So they're like, well, I do this thing and I receive something for it. So
I feel though now, like people are getting more, I wouldn't say educated, but more educated. And if you do something bad and you post that on social media,
You'll get ripped up.
you will get ripped up. Yeah, like
And it's happening with this article.
Just with
we're
this
literally
article,
doing that
Patrick
right
Duke.
now.
Patrick Duke, yeah,
We're
Patrick
literally
Duke is the guy that's been called out.
Yeah.
Patrick Duke and Matt Shaw. Matt Shaw's an amazing photographer.
Yeah.
We'll never take that from him. I'm sure Patrick Duke is an awesome dude to
I'm
grab a
sure.
beer with and talk fishing, but because of one mistake,
They kind of
now it's blowing up.
It's like a
online
witch hunt now.
and then people will
That's the
remember.
other thing too, is like you don't want to, like, I think
crucify.
you don't want to crucify
speaking of
anybody,
weird
but
words.
like, I mean, I think you're right. Like Olivia, like they should have known better.
Yeah.
They're guides.
No, I'm totally
they're
for
they're
that.
pro.
They're pro.
You know,
They're pros. They're,
they're pros.
professionals.
Yeah, there's no
You're-
excuse for it.
You're a guide or you're a photographer. Know your shit.
You're on pro
It-
staff.
You
You're on
know,
a pro
It's- he's
you're
not
on
some,
pro
like-
staff.
Yeah.
He's not some like bum like going out there and fishing, you
Yeah,
know, whatever.
totally.
Like this guy is aware, and I don't even think he had a license either.
Oh
Yeah. So
man, really?
Here's what he got cut for. I have my list here.
Into the mic, Gabbathy.
Yes, into the mic. So after doing some diggings, here's what they found state-wise. Patrick Duke was fishing a sanctuary zone.
God.
Got cut for it.
Oh god.
I mean, it's all public. I might
yeah.
be calling him names, but it's government. It's got cut.
This is fly fishing news with Gab.
Yeah, fly
this
fishing
is
news
hard
with
hitting
Gab.
shit.
All
This
right.
is pointing fingers with Gab. Don't do bad shit, because I will find out.
Whoa.
Be
Yeah.
afraid.
So, fishing sanctuary
Much okay.
without permit.
Oh man.
That's rough.
Fishing in close area.
Oh god.
Fishing without a license. Not only he was
Oh, my
fishing a
God.
sanctuary without the license to fish that sanctuary, didn't even purchase a license to fish in that state.
Oh my god.
And, but not the less,
He didn't.
no one in the boat had life jacket.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Out of everything, the life
So-
jacket.
You know what?
But yeah, it's bad.
Provide,
They had permits for the dynamite though.
Yeah, exactly. They were licensed.
but it didn't have a lighter, so that didn't happen.
It's kind of like going to like a cow farm and like shooting a cow, right? And dragging it off. Is that a good analogy?
That's a bad analogy.
No.
That's not very
Fuck,
good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's pretty shit.
It's kind of like going turkey hunting and shooting a grouse. No.
Yeah.
That's not
Terrible
it at all
analogy.
either.
I know I did that on purpose. Hey,
Fishing
but
a sanctuary without a license and the audacity to not wear a life jacket. You son of
and then ending up being the cover photo
Yeah, it's
of
bad.
an like
Yeah, okay, all
That's
that's
the thing,
pretty
though.
bad.
They
yeah.
knew
They knew
what they were doing because, like, come on, you have to have a license. Second, it's a sanctuary. Third, it's out of season. Like, what are you doing?
At least Photoshop the damn fucking
You know that-
fish.
Right. Like,
The
if you're
lesson-
gonna try to commit some sort of like, fishing crime,
Put a
like,
fin on it.
god damn,
yeah.
do a better job. Don't.
It's like
Don't do that. Don't. We're not
you
advocating.
know what? One
committing
time
crimes
on the
poorly.
Yanareska River, I caught the steelhead and I took a photo.
Oh,
And
here
when
we
I
go.
went home,
Oh god.
yeah, we're in the process of talking with people.
I know,
not fishing
I know,
out of season.
but I didn't really notice it.
Oh no, god.
You took it home by mistake.
I went back home, look at the photo, and I had eggs
Oh.
all over my pants,
Oh.
like all over my waders, but I didn't notice at first. I'm like
Right.
lifting up the fish, take a photo.
But it was totally kosher.
This photo, I don't have it anymore.
It was kosher, like you were fishing
It
in
was
season.
kosher, yeah.
Nothing was wrong.
No, nothing was wrong, but it's
kinda
still,
weird,
you
but-
know?
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
I get
It's
it.
just-
I get
It
it.
just looks weird, you know? Like,
Yeah, like we see it all
You
the
don't-
time back at home. Like guys will be holding the trout in like in their gill, like vertical, and,
God.
and the
Fit the
eggs are
finger
just
in the
like
hole.
pouring out, and
God.
and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I'm a good fucking angler, like cool, like whatever. But still,
it's
it
not
makes
because
me
it's
cringe.
a fish photo that you should post it. Like, nobody gives a fish about a
It's true.
photo. Just take a good
And then they
photo.
like literally like just like throw it back into the water.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I think like as like let's say moving forward, our reach grows, and hopefully one day we'll have as many followers as Olivia.
Okay.
10 years from now.
That'd be nice,
10,
huh?
16, 20 years from now. But as social media evolves, like, you don't know what the next big thing is going to be. Like, it's not going to be Instagram, it'll be something else. But, I think if we can, as anglers, I think it's a good thing. I think social media is a good thing. Ultimately, I just think it exacerbates some bad habits that I think need to be put in check. And
Yeah. But it brings them to the surface too.
You're under the microscope now.
Yeah.
Like every little thing that you do wrong is going to be noticed. And you have to be super, super careful. Even like job interviews and everything.
Yeah.
like everything is on
People
there.
will know what you say.
And
or do.
people see everything.
But-
It's crazy.
But even from that, I think as those technologies evolve, I think at the core of it, if we're supposed to be conservation minded people, and I think we all are, I think it's like you said, like, just keep learning, be aware. I think that's that's a really good thing to say.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
I think be aware, educate yourself,
people make
seek
mistakes.
the knowledge out. Like, don't wait for somebody to tell you.
And if
You
you
know?
don't,
Like,
if you
and-
don't resonate with like being conservation minded and being like, maybe think about like why people are like, maybe they're
Yeah.
Just
you know what I
stay
mean?
home.
Like why care about like releasing a fish properly? Like there's definitely something to it. Like give
Yeah.
it a chance.
Well, that's the other thing is like I'm not trying to harp on people who catch and keep either.
Yeah.
If you want to catch and keep,
Catch and keep is fine.
Catch and keep is totally
You're
fine.
allowed to. Like,
you're
if you want to have,
and you want to take a picture of it, great.
if you want to
But
smoke,
if you're going to be a catch and release angler and
There's like
you're
blood coming from the
you're definitely not. You
gills and
definitely,
everything.
you definitely shouldn't be fleecing fish on the reds and getting a cover photo in a magazine where you make a bunch of money.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
So that's it. I just
That's the
wanted to.
news?
That's the news. That was the only subject because it was pretty heavy and we've been talking about it for a while. So
we need a break. We're all
Yeah, I
riled
think-
up.
yeah,
I think we're all riled up.
yeah.
Yeah.
We need to change something.
We're gonna do a clean cut on Gab's exit. Gab, get ready to.
Thank you very much.
Wait, not yet. We're gonna count down from 5. Wait, it's not on. Okay, that's my fault. Okay, ready, Gab? Outro, Gab's news section. That's it from.
Okay, thank you very much. This that was it. It was fuck. I can't do this.
That was what?
It was the new sections. With,
What news
This-
sections?
This has been Fly Fishing News with Gab.
Yes. Can I say that again? I'm awful at this.
Rad. No, that's perfect.
So, Olivia, you've been to Cuba a few times. First time you were like kind of like one of the eye-opening fly fishing experiences. Second time you hooked and landed a tarpon?
Yeah, I was in it to win it this time.
okay.
So yeah, went to Cuba. Kind of went not knowing like where I was gonna fish, what I was gonna do, but I had all the gear. I was ready to rock and roll. Found this guy. He showed up to my hotel. He's like, I'll be in a red taxi cab looking for you. I sound like I'm French. Sorry, guy. And
Was that Spanish?
that was me trying to be Spanish. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to die. He's going to take me off. I have no cell service. And then he's like, okay, well, we're going to go fish in this lake, lady, and all this stuff. And I'm like, great, cool. I don't know what I'm fishing for. Like, and we go, he's like, so there's tarpon in this lake. And I'm like, what the F? Like, I've never like fished for tarpon before.
Right.
I'm still like super green at fly fishing and
Right.
everything. And we go and, I'm casting. I'm having such a hard time. He's casting for me. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm not catching a fish if you casted. Like, that's not how it's going to go.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
finally casted to the tarpon that was going, I'm stripping. He eats it. And I hook set, it goes, but I had a reel that was really shitty and the drag was like crap. And the drag stopped and the fish
Oh, fuck.
went, the leader went, it broke, and like everything, it just slow-mo. And I was like, I felt sick. I wanted to throw up. And the
And
guy,
like you had like, 80, 100 pound shock tippet kind of thing?
yeah, 80 pound or whatever. And then
Oh,
it was
man.
like, the guide's looking at me like, you are the worst angler in the entire world.
Oh man.
And, and he was like, well, lady, that's probably the last tarpon you're probably going to catch for today. Maybe some other time, but we still have like a couple hours and to go. And I'm like, okay, you could do this again. It took
Yeah.
me like 8 hours to freaking get that one. I
Right.
could do it in 2 hours. Like, So literally have like an hour to go, cast out, bam, got a tarpon, and
No way.
I had to use an 8-weight this time, 8-weight rod.
Oh, because the reel?
Because I switched out, because my guide made me switch out. And it took me an hour to bring it in. I think it was like 50 pounds, 60 pounds.
50 pounds is a huge fish.
I think it was. I don't know. I thought it was
You got it on an 8-weight?
on an 8-weight. It took me an hour.
That's ridiculous.
sick.
On an 8 weight.
Yeah.
50 pounds. Oh my God.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
People tell me that it was like, oh, it was only like a 10-pound tarpon. Oh, it was like an 80-pound tarpon. So whatever. I'm saying it was 50 pounds.
400-pound tarpon.
And it literally
At
like,
least.
when I was like holding it, it was like, oh my God, this is so freaking heavy. And you could feel the muscles and
my
like everything. It
so
was
cool.
It was really cool. It
And
was
the
great.
thing jumped out of
Drummed
the water?
like a million times, like in the drake, you could just hear it. I have a video on my Instagram. It's a lot of not the fish because my guy took a lot of picture of something else. But you know, you get a little bit of the tarpon
Like
in
the
it.
sky and the water and stuff.
Yeah, you know, don't look at that video. But yeah,
crazy.
it was awesome. It jumped like a million times. Got it to the boat, had a couple pictures with it, let it go, and I was like, oh my God, I want to do it again, you know, but I don't want to pay and go do it again. So,
Yeah.
you know, we did it once and that was
and
it.
that was like kind of like
That was day one.
that was day one.
That
That was day one
of your trip.
That was day one of my trip.
That was day one of trip
insane.
2. And this was like what, a year ago?
Yes. So
Okay,
it would have
cool.
been a year like now, I think.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Anniversary.
Damn, so like you've like yeah, there's
Nice
a lot of
little-
there's a lot of fish caught in between that year and this year.
I don't
yeah.
really realize it, but
Yeah.
I guess there is.
That's insane. Like, that makes me want to go tarpon fishing so fucking
Well, we
bad.
definitely got to get you down to the salt, Mitch.
Totally.
It was different though because it was a lake,
Okay.
an inland lake. So the salt water used to come in. My guide's probably gonna kill me for saying this, but that's okay. So it was salt water used to go into this like inlet, but eventually it like stopped, and all these tarpon got stuck in there, and now it's a freshwater lake.
Oh, no way.
So these tarpon are freshwater tarpon.
What?
Landlocked,
thing?
Landlocked
freshwater tarpon.
That is so
Maybe I'm
cool.
totally wrong, and I'm sorry for all the hate I'm probably going to get for that. But
Well, just email the SoFlyCrew@gmail.com.
yeah, whatever. hate
And
me
we'll
up.
figure it out.
Hate me up. That's fine. But that's what my guide told me.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there was you see them rolling. There's probably like thousands of them in there, and I guess it's a very like quiet lake. Like not a lot of people know about it because he kind of told me to keep it hush hush a little bit. So I'm kind of blowing it up now. I'm really sorry, but yeah,
Well, we have no idea where it is.
I don't even know where it is.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you where it is. If
I can't even really tell you where Cuba is. That's kidding. I'm kidding. I know where it is.
Where is it?
Yeah. It's like sort of like West Europe.
yeah. It's by Australia.
Yeah, it's near Australia.
You pretty sure you have to fly to Iceland and then it's cheaper that it's cheaper that way anyway.
It's cheaper that way. so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an awesome story. It's really cool. It's really
That's
rad.
cool. Do you hope to do more traveling?
I would love to, but right now where I'm at in my career, it's kind of hard, but hopefully in the future I have a couple of trips in mind that I can do. But it kind of sucks because I don't have like a husband or a boyfriend or a super close friend that can like do stuff with me. So I'm kind of solo.
Right.
Like I'm sad. I'm like a lonely traveler. I have no one to go. So if anyone wants to come travel with me, let me know.
Well,
Traveling by yourself is
Well,
kind of
I mean,
cool,
maybe
though.
like we do.
like all of us do.
Olivia is searching for a fly fishing man friend to come travel with her.
What about a fly fishing girlfriend?
Or a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But you are taking one trip this summer, and is that an all girls?
Yeah, so it's all girls,
Okay.
all fly fishing, which is really nice. I'm super excited about it because I don't get to do something like that. It's always like all boys trip, love you guys and everything, but then I got to listen to like all the boy talk.
So are they all pro type people, or are they just friends of yours? Or
I've met the one girl from Montana that's going.
oh, that's cool.
And the girl that's hosting it, I've never actually met her
Whoa.
in
So how'd you guys
person.
meet?
Just through social media. The power of social media. It's good and it's bad sometimes, right?
That's awesome.
So I don't know like really any of the girls that are going. So it's kind of hopefully everyone's gonna get along because I know when a bunch of girls get together, it can be really, really bad. So I'm gonna
Bunch of
stay
guys together is pretty bad too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I hate you guys.
I'm praying that it's going to be a good trip and there's no drama or anything. But everyone seems really, really cool so far.
Sweet.
So I think we're going to have a great time and have some good stories, catch lots of fish. And
Where are you guys heading?
Anderson's Lodge.
Where's that?
That's in Lac Seul.
Yeah.
Gonna do a little bit of Lake of the Woods stuff too. And
Oh, cool.
yeah.
That sounds awesome. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome. Is that something like is that something like doesn't happen too often? Like finding like a group of like, I don't know, like-minded girls for you to fish with? Is that
It's
a concern
like-
of yours even? Like,
It is a concern of mine because I would love to fish with other girls, but there is. I'm not aware. Maybe you're in hiding. I don't know. But if you are, come out and contact me, Olivia M Fishing on Instagram, because I want to fish with you. But around my area, like girls fish and stuff, but they're not like hardcore. They,
Right.
maybe they are to them. They are hardcore, but to my level, they're not hardcore.
Well, in
But,
terms of commitment level, I think you beat most people.
Yeah.
Sleeping in your car.
sleeping in my truck, launching.
Trucks, sorry. Car.
Oh yeah,
Dodge Ram, everybody.
the eco diesel, got to be specific,
True. So if Dodge wants to give us a car, that'd be cool.
Yeah. But I
You're so
launched
eco-friendly.
the eco diesel.
Yeah.
I launched my own boat. Like I can do everything on my own. So I think that's kind of a lot of girls can't do that, and I want
Yeah.
girls to be able to do that, you know. And I kind of wanted to start like my own little thing for girls. Like it's okay to travel and kind of find like guides that are like girl approved, that they can feel comfortable going.
I like that.
By themselves, because I've already done it like without doing my research, so you're not going to get killed by these people, because I would have, you know what I mean? So like my guide in Virginia, Brent Perky, awesome guy. Like I totally recommend him to anyone if you want to fish musky in Virginia. Like top-notch guy. Like he knows what he's doing, like. So I know you guys were kind of planning maybe a road trip, so that could be maybe in your kind of thing. I don't know.
Yep.
So many trips, so little time.
And then there's Scott Grassy. I fished with him with Steelhead. He's an amazing guy, like family guy, loves fishing, super comfortable. Learned a lot from him. And then that's all who I have right now. But
Yeah, because we're seeing, speaking at the shop anyway, like it is, it's a sport that's trending young, and it's also trending female, which is awesome. Yeah, I think Mitch brought up a point where like I think he said something like, I hope we can get to the point where we're just talking to you about just like you as an angler as opposed to you as a female angler. You know what I mean?
I hate that. Like, why do I have to be a woman angler? I'm an angler.
we don't. I mean, like, I don't think of you that way, but like
A lot of people do. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I didn't know a girl could catch that fish.
Right.
Okay, like I could probably outfish you like a million times.
can
And
definitely
You literally outfish all of them.
Yeah, together.
but it just really bothers me, like and like where I work too, I deal with men and stuff, and they don't want to talk to me about stuff because I'm a woman, and I'm like, well, I know more about this shit than you do, so like take a seat, bud, and like listen. But whatever, I'm used to it now, and like that's fine. I don't want to talk to people anyways.
I don't want to talk to people.
She's like Ron
Good
Swenson
thing you're a
of
podcast
fishing.
host.
All right.
I don't talk to people.
Olivia gets into like a fishing store, and someone's like, "Oh, can I help you?" And she just go, "I know more than you."
Yeah. No, I like talking to people, and I like talking to people that can actually hold a conversation about fishing. I don't care how many trout that you slaughtered, literally slaughtered. Like, oh, good for you. I'm glad that you whatever. But like, I actually like talking to people who are passionate about it, who get excited about it.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to find those people.
It
And I'm
is.
sure you guys have the struggle of that too.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But they are out there.
They are.
They're out there, and
I want to find women anglers that are like that too in my area. I know they're all over the world, but it seems like my area, it's like hard. And I'm sure Toronto, like you have more population, but I still find that they're kind of, I don't know. I'm going to get total hate mail for this, but that's okay. I don't care, whatever. But like a lot of these girls, I feel like they are fishing for attention. Like I see the girls that have all their makeup done and their curled hair. Like I have dreads, like when I'm done fishing. Like I don't know how. Like
You did untangled.
yeah, Gab untangled my dread at the fly shop. Gross, I know.
I'm kidding.
It was.
It's guys too, you know, like it's the whole thing we were talking about earlier with like you got to get that right fish photo. It's like people are looking for attention. People like there's certain people that are just looking to sort of like sell a certain angle and get the likes, right?
Yeah, and you get like the girls with like the smoky eye. Like my makeup's half gone by like
Me too.
midday, you know?
The rain gets mine every time.
And like my hair is like
smudge.
My hair is a disaster, and I'm like, how do you even like do that? Like I can't even keep my hair curly like on like going out at night, let alone on the boat out in the elements and stuff. Like I don't know. Whatever. To each their own. Like if that's your thing, that's totally cool. But to me, that makes it seem like it's superposed and you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like
fabricated.
yeah.
There's a cool podcast called the Barbless Fly Fishing Podcast. They cover this subject. It was Kate Watson and I'm gonna blow this name, but Kayla Katayama. They're two female guides, and they were on that show, and they talked about like the sexualization of fly fishing through social media. And yeah, I think you're totally right. I think some people do it for, I mean, we all do it for attention, but yeah, it's
For the
interesting.
wrong kind of attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, not for the love of it, not for fly fishing for what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sad because, you know, I want women to be like empowered and, you know, and I feel like they're kind of degrading themselves in a way, like, you know, because everyone wants to be equal and, you know, and you're kind of making yourself not like that, you know, it's like kind of like the Playboy bunny version of fishing.
Right.
And it makes me sad. Like, you know, when I see a girl, like a beautiful girl with all this makeup, her hair curled, sitting there posing perfectly with a fish. And I'm like, to me, like, that's just not right.
It's also not like what we love about the adventure. It doesn't say like...
No, it just
Yeah,
seems
it's just
so
like you look at
like...
the photo, like, okay.
And I get it. Sometimes you
looking,
probably have to
whatever.
do it for whatever company. But still, like, you know... when
Again, the company might need.
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah.
Like I'm holding a fish, like I have like, you know, I'm smiling, laughing, whatever, but I have like water all over
Crying.
me. You know, like I have boogers in my nose, like my hair is tangled, I have a double chin happening, probably sweat stains, like, you know, like that's like fishing.
Yeah.
You know, that's like true life. Like it's
Yeah.
not, I worked for my fish. Like, you know, this was the struggle I had to do. And like, unfortunately, I'm not glammed up. You know, I don't know I really don't know how these girls stay like that. And if you have tips for me, let me know because I want to know how you do it.
Me too.
I'll give you a lot of tips. I'm super glamour.
I will say your beard is looking nice.
It's very,
Yeah.
I took the Tomogamy video. It was looking like really poofy.
Yeah.
Me too, though. You know, it's just the humidity. Anyways,
Well, like,
100%.
like I took a shower this morning in Temagami. It's like 4 days of like bushwhacking. So yeah, my beard's gonna look a little bushy.
Some bugs in the beard.
Just wait for it at the webcam.
Yeah, I think I could say that's a good point. Like just to, you know, I've never had to you know, think about, give a second thought to going out fishing by myself. Yeah, I've never thought about that. You know, like, I mean, yeah, I was like, even on that road trip I took by myself, there was a small fear of myself getting eaten by like the reincarnation of Paul Bunting or whatever. But like,
In Arkansas.
wait, yeah, especially in Arkansas, fuck.
Well, it's nice to see the growth in inclusion.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
sport.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I remember listening to podcasts like 10 years ago.
dudes
where
that come into the shop sometimes, I'm like, oh my
It's
god,
just
the
like-
things they say.
But even like this type of stuff like being talked about, like back in, you know, like I remember there's this podcast I used to listen to called Fly Fishing on the Web. It was like these guys were great, like they were super cool dudes, but it was a while ago, and like even they were talking about it at that point. Like it's a slow moving thing, and I think it's a slow moving thing also because like across the board in terms of inclusion, because it's just such a sparse and sort of like niche thing, fly fishing. So it's just like one of those things that takes so long, and it's too bad, but like it's great to see more people getting into it from all different like walks of life, you know, and all different ethnicities and genders and ages and everything. Because it's like that's really what it should be about, you know. Like there shouldn't be any fucking barriers when it comes to stuff.
It's the ultimate equalizer, right? Like it's like
Everyone's the same on the water.
Yeah,
like doesn't matter like
totally
whatever. Everyone's the same.
Just like you said, you know, you're wearing waders, you're sweating.
and it's so much about the
like
moment.
everyone's the same. You're a girl or a man.
Don't
like,
know
it
if
doesn't
you
matter.
peed your
Like, you're-
pants or if your waders are leaking.
And that's what it should be about.
exactly.
I don't have that problem.
But that's the best content. The best like all that stuff is about the moment, like the real awesome experience you get from and the reward you get from taking part in such like an awesome and unique experience like fly fishing can offer, you know, like seeing messy hair and like, you know, like crazy poofed out beard and like cuts on her hands and just like wet and shit like in a big fish, but like you're just like so ecstatic. Like that is the best fucking
You got that like manic look on your face. You're like, this is great.
You're scared.
One time
Get
I
the
saw
picture now because this fucking
I
thing
need
is
to sleep. Like,
There's a girl. She doesn't fly fish, but she's a great angler. Her name's Chelsea, and like if you go through her Instagram, like she like her hair is like messy. Like here's a picture of her in the rain holding a muskie. Like
it's a nice fish.
her Instagram is ChelseaLynn_XO. She's awesome and like, you know, she's legit. Like her hair is a mess. She's catching sweet fish.
It's crazy fish.
You know, and she's awesome. She doesn't fly fish, but it doesn't matter. Like she's like a legit girl and I totally respect her as an angler. Like, and there's not a lot of girls that I respect as an angler, and she's, even though we don't do the same thing, like I still, you know, respect her grind and everything because she really loves and is passionate about it.
yeah. And I feel like, you know,
done.
like if you, it's tough, right? Because you don't want to like belittle somebody who does get like dolled up.
Yeah, no, I think it's good to like keep things inclusive and obviously
whatever you want, put it on your head.
inspire people to
Just be yourself, girls.
It's July 1st, where everything is open.
Yeah.
Well, in our area anyway. Bass is open, Pike is open, Musky's open.
Awesome. Up the best.
What are we all pumped to be fishing? What, Olivia, what are you pumped to be fishing about?
I don't know.
It's July 1st. It's Canada Day. You're driving
hard.
the river you want to fish for.
It's hard because if the carp are there, I want to fish for the carp, but I also want to fish for muskie and I want to catch a bass.
Pick one.
I don't know.
One,
know.
2,
Oh, I can't.
3.
Oh,
You got until 5, 4,
Canada Day weekend.
Canada Day weekend. What are you
5,
fishing for?
2.
I'm probably going to fish for muskie.
Boom.
Musky.
What about you, Aldo? It's July 1st.
July 1st. It's Canada Day. Happy Canada Day, everybody. Bass.
Yeah, me too.
Absolute smallmouth. I'm gonna
I was
take.
going to
I'm
say
gonna take
small.
my shirt off, and I'm gonna go in the river, and I'm gonna stick some bass on some poppers.
Fuck, like I'm not even gonna like screw my pants too. I'm fishing naked, baby.
Gab, it's Canada Day. Happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada, Gab.
Happy Canada Day, Gab.
Well, I'm drunk because it's Canada Day.
Yeah.
And smallmouth. Smallmouth
Well,
bass
that's
all
2
the
for
way.
smallmouth. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good, guys, because we're going smallmouth bass fishing around that time.
Yeah.
So righteous.
Happy Canada Day, Mitch.
Canada Day, Aldo.
What are you fishing for?
Smallmouth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, we determined that already.
Yeah.
Well, I'm drunk.
You had to take my idea.
I was 100% serious.
Oh, speaking of which, why we're so drunk is what are we drinking this time around? We're not drinking beer this time.
No beer. We're drinking delicious and amazingly refreshing Muskoka Legendary Oddity Gin.
Yeah. So Muskoka about a year ago started making gin, which is awesome. They have a pretty big facility up in Bracebridge. Hey, it's Canada Day weekend. If you're up in the Muskokas, guys, buy your beer there.
Totally.
It's a fucking cool place to hang out, and they give tours and shit. And I've been on tours, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But they started making gin a while ago. What's cool about this gin? For those of everybody who doesn't know, you need botanicals to make gin, and one of the botanicals that they use are actually they use hops in this gin to shout out to their brewery.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
How long have they been making gin for?
Just over a year.
Okay.
I think they've been in like the design, like the testing phase for a few years now.
There's research to be
Exactly.
done before
yeah.
you launch
before
it.
you launch a brand, right? And then gin uses juniper berries. They use orange peel and heather tips and whatnot. But what makes theirs a little bit unique, shout out to their brewing past, is they use hops.
It's crazy.
Cool.
You know, I've never had such a crisp, refreshingly delicious gin, such as the Muskoka gin, legendary oddity. And it's not like they haven't paid us to say this or anything. It's not like we're getting money to say that this is the best gin I've ever had in my fucking life. If you don't buy this gin, like stop listening to the show.
Your life is in vain.
If you're not on the dock right now,
Drinking Muskoka legendary oddity gin and just drinking it
you've got your shirt off,
Pants off.
You're making Gab mad.
Socks on your hands.
I hate
Casting back.
Oh yes.
I have a story because
Oh, I guess that's how we're ending the show.
yes.
Gab.
So talking about shirt off, I was
Oh god.
I was helping.
Never mind, the show's over.
I was helping my brother-in-law doing some construction demolition stuff at his place, and all of his construction friend and big muscular dude were all there with no shirt. And I was the only one wearing a t-shirt.
Sounds like
and I got in trouble. Chantel was like, "Take your shirt off," and I was like, "No, I won't."
your now wife got mad at you.
I'm a never nude, so don't take your shirt off in my presence.
And you just you kept going, no.
You're such a prude.
I will not take my shirt off. Not that I have anything to show for, but
with that in mind,
that's
Olivia, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, Olivia, thanks for coming out. It was awesome getting to fish with you today. We're excited to come down and fish your neck of the woods. It's cool learning about that place because the Niagara region is something I don't really know about. I don't think any of us do. So that was awesome.
We need to get on that this summer.
Dedication to the sport is awesome, and your advocacy for the conservation and women in the sport is really cool too. So that's awesome. That's cool. 100%. I think it was an awesome show.
And if you're not already following Olivia on Instagram, definitely do it. It's like your page is absolutely amazing, and your handle is
Olivia M Fishing.
So give it a look, give it a check it out on Instagram because like it's full of amazing fish pictures.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was a lot of fun today, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Great. And we're at the SoFly Crew. That's our social. And you can reach us at thesoflycrew@gmail.com if you have any questions or comments or concerns.
Or death threats for me.
Ideas,
topics, whatever, questions, anything. Hit us up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. And Olivia, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
That's it for me, Mitch, Aldo.
Goodbye, Internet.
Gab.
Right on.
See you later.